But fundamentally, at the end of the day, coming back to the change management conversation, we have to understand that we have to accept the death of some things before we can get excited about the rebirth of things. And that's the quintessential Kubler-Ross change management model. And it's not just the public sector that's going to have to accept change. Entire industries are going to go away, including auto insurance, including the way some of us are used to living, buying and selling, large homes. I have a 3,000 square foot house. New business models are like, this is, I think, Cavite in Austin, or Casit, where they'll build you one modular home, and then they'll drive it across the country and park it in any city that you want. Here people are used to living in a few hundred square feet, but for Americans, this is a big change. Future compatibility in design, whether it's, if you're building a parking garage, and in the US we're starting to do this, design the on-ramps and off-ramps so you can cut them off, run the HVAC, run the electric so it can be converted to an office building in 10 years when we don't need parking anymore. Zoning is going to have to become more flexible so we can repurpose spaces in single-family homes that used to be for vehicles. There's a lot of other technologies. I'm going to go fast now because I don't want to bump into our time for Q&A. But other technologies like 3D printing are going to change the way we move goods and services. There's a lot of, okay, who has a smartphone? Raise your hand. Everybody. There's got to be one person that doesn't. But it takes 20 tons of raw materials to create an iPhone. 20 tons. We weren't even recycling iPhones till about 4 or 5 years ago. Okay? So in the future, you may walk into a FedEx, you may give them your old phone, they may print you a new phone. When I went to the CES show this year in Vegas, the big thing was 3D printing of glass. Within 2 months, people were talking about 3D printing of titanium. And now you can 3D print steel. So you can see a time very soon where that's all going to change. And even retail is going to change. New Balance's printing is 3D printing shoes. So once they have your measurements, you can just turn in your old shoes and get new ones anytime you want. This will affect how retail works, how our public spaces are used, how our private malls are used. They may become manufacturing facilities for goods on the spot. I was just talking to you about 3D printing of vehicles. This car took 44 hours to print a month ago. Due to a new increase in technology, they can print it now, because of the head that they use on the printer, 22 hours. And they think they can get it down to 8. So you can walk into the showroom, pick out what you want, go home, come back the next morning and pick up your car. You can see how things are going to change. Production of food is moving into cities instead of out at farms. Better than organic, and big money now is flowing into these companies like Aeroponics in Newark. And the biggest shift will be, and most experts agree on this, the coming era of free energy within 25 years. Because we have been propping up oil companies for so long, but we're finally going to stop doing it because people like Elon Musk and others are showing that these business models work, at least until everything's free. And virtual reality and artificial intelligence are going to change the way people come to meetings. Anthony Robbins, who's heard of Tony Robbins, the self-help guy? Okay, so he now can beam into places like Sydney, Australia, from his office in California, and he's on stage just like I am, and he's giving a talk, but he never has to travel 30 hours to get to Sydney. So you can start to see how the travel industry is going to change. And you may be able to go shopping in Singapore without leaving your couch in Washington, D.C. So, jumping ahead a little bit, the way we work is going to change. And I was very happy in meeting with your planners this morning. They're aware of this. Most places, they aren't even thinking about this. They're thinking about this. And they understand that people may work a lot less in the future in places like Singapore. Who knows what the #1 job for men is in the United States? Plumber? Close. Driver. Driver. Plumber's also a big one. So there's about 15 million driving jobs in the US. Those are all going to go away. This McKinsey and Economist study is fascinating because they studied the future of work, And there were two things that stuck out to me. That basically our focus on STEM may be not so good. Maybe it's creativity that's going to matter in the long run, because a lot of the STEM jobs will be automated, including computer programming. And that the next decade and a half, digital technology will dissolve the concept of work as we know it. The choice of words is important, not change the nature of work, but literally dissolve how we work, or if we work.